Perfect. All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll wait here just for a moment to have some more people arrive. In the meantime, if you'd love to introduce yourself in the chat, please do so. Go ahead and drop your name. Tell us where you're from. If this is your first time coming to SciStarter Live, this is our weekly live webinar that we do every Tuesday at 2 p.m. in which we discuss all things citizen science. So go ahead and introduce yourself. I'll introduce myself. I'm Trevor. I am from Toledo, Ohio. Roland, would you like to, say where you're from?
Yes, hi everyone. I'm Roland from Lebanon. I live near Beirut and happy to host the webinar today.
Awesome. So if you're just now arriving, welcome. We are going to be streaming to Facebook shortly. Let's see here. Okay. Welcome. If anything comes through in chat, let me know. Okay, perfect. All right. So let me go ahead and introduce myself here. My name is, like I said, Trevor Bartow. I'm from Toledo, Ohio. I'm the content and program coordinator here at SciStarter. I'll be one of two hosts today, getting to know myself and Roland the other. Roland, do you want to kind of give a little bit more background? I know you said where you're from, but you want to give a little bit more, or wait till we get into it and introduce ourselves a little bit more?
Sure. I'll only say that I'm usually behind the scenes during live webinars, but today we're both gonna talk more about ourselves and our work with SciStarter.
Awesome. Emma, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure thing. Sorry about that. We're going to be streaming this to Facebook shortly. It was on my end. I made that error. Hi, everyone. I am often hosting SciStarter Live, but I'm taking the backseat this time. If you are having any IT issues, let me know. I'm IT support in here for a reason, so let me know if you need anything. I'm a program coordinator for SciStarter. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. All right, let's dive in here. All right, so this side here. If you are new, or if you've been with us before, you have two features able for you. You have the chat function and the Q&A function. So go ahead and, like I said, use that chat function, introduce yourself, test it out, make sure it's working for you. If you have any questions for either Roland or I, go ahead and put that in the Q&A section, and then we'll answer your question. If we don't get to it right away, don't worry. I'll have a specific time at the end to address the questions as well. All right, so Roland, go ahead and take over here and kind of introduce yourself, tell us your passions and all of that.
Okay, so I used to work in a non-STEM field before, and I've always wanted to work in a field that I truly love. And then I found citizen science, although it's been years that I knew about it, and I was constantly thinking about potential ways to join this global movement. And there were practically zero opportunities where I live, not just Lebanon, in the region as well. I really doubt there are as serious citizen science efforts as there is in the US, in Europe, and other parts of the world. So I consider myself really lucky to become part of the SciStarter team, and mainly because I love citizen science in the first place. So it wasn't as simple as looking for a job, but it was looking for something I truly enjoy doing. So yeah.
Awesome. So let's go. Let's see. Like I said, I'm Trevor Bartow. I kind of have a similar story there with Roland. I actually started back. I was a customer service associate at Lowe's. It's a home improvement store. If you're not familiar with that is here in the United States, I don't know if they're international or not. When I left there, I actually am currently a study coordinator at a medical research organization, working towards finishing my bachelor's of science in biochemistry. Got couple more classes of that. So I can't wait, see the light at the end of the tunnel for that one. As far as citizen science, I'll go into more in depth of what brought me to citizen science and why why I'm here today. But I started practicing citizen science back in 2018. So for the past what is that, 5 years now, I've been practicing citizen science. Started out as an advocate for it, practicing it, and then I kind of went from there and ended up running my own. Had our own little community projects that we ran. So, but we'd like to get to know our audience a little bit more here. So let us know if you have ever participated in a citizen science project before. We'll go ahead and open that poll up.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so go ahead and vote there if you have ever participated in a citizen science project before. Yes, no, maybe. If you are a maybe, then hopefully we can kind of help sort that out for you today. All right. And where we get to 80%, I believe Roland, were you able to open that up? Perfect. So we have everyone has participated in a science project before. That's awesome. That's fantastic. Okay. We have another poll. Have you ever been to a SciStarter live event before? Wait, we have everyone in here. Hopefully we have a few repeat members here. We have everyone has been to a SciStarter live event. That is amazing. Glad to have you back. Awesome. All right, and then we want to know, who are you? Are you an aspiring citizen scientist, a student, a parent, maybe a parent of an aspiring citizen scientist, a teacher, a librarian, a researcher, or a bored person on the internet? It's how I started, a bored person on the internet, came across citizen science, and the rest is history. Awesome. So we got a mix. Got an aspiring citizen scientist, a teacher, a librarian. So good mix there. Awesome. So if you don't know what citizen science is, obviously you're here today because you have an interest in citizen science, but just in case you need an introduction or a refresher, citizen science is a collaboration between scientists and those of us who are curious, concerned, or motivated to make a difference. It's a great way for people to make an impact on issues they care about, all by helping science. So if you haven't already, your first step here is to join SciStarter. SciStarter is a research affiliate of Arizona State University and hosts an active community of over 150,000 registered citizen scientists. SciStarter has over 1,600 citizen science projects to choose from, but don't let that overwhelm you, because it is actually extremely easy to narrow down by your interests and location. To create an account, all you do is hit sign up at the top of the homepage. Make sure you enter your zip code so you can get personalized recommendations for projects that are special to your specific area. And then you can sign up for an email newsletter as well to get suggestions on projects twice a month for you to try out. And then once you're signed up, you're ready to start looking for projects. Simply go to the project finder on SciStarter, enter in, maybe you're interested in astronomy or interested in learning about bats or whatever it may be. Simply type that in and you can find a project related to that topic. All right, so let me go ahead and introduce you to one of our resources that we have at SciStarter. It's a training on the foundations of citizen science. On SciStarter.org, we actually have several free trainings that set you up for success in any citizen science project. Anyone can complete them and earn a personalized badge that holds evidence that you completed that project or that training. The foundations training is a prerequisite for the other trainings. There are 4 more trainings. There's data literacy, libraries as community hubs for citizen science in higher education, and there it is. Oh, sorry, 3 more. A data ethics for practitioners as well. And once you complete the foundations for citizen science, you can go on and do the others. Have the badges. They're actually able to be linked to your LinkedIn profile, which I still have yet to do, but that is on my plan. So very, very cool. And they are fantastic resources if you want to learn more about citizen science. All right, so let's go ahead and dive in to the main topic of here today is to get to know people that are usually behind the scenes, Roland and myself. We'll first go over our hobbies, interests, and some previous careers. So I'll go ahead and let Roland start off here. Tell us about yourself, Roland.
Okay, thank you. So among my hobbies is everything related to cars, not motorsport, but mainly production cars and their design and so on. So naturally, I love driving, spirited driving particularly, maybe whether it be on some empty road or in karting. I love the action of fast driving. I also love endurance cycling and running. Last month, I ran my second marathon, the full 26 miles. And also in 2022, I became an ultra cyclist by completing 180 kilometers. I think that equals to 100 miles. So I also love everything endurance. And let's not forget video gaming, because I strongly believe that video gaming, as we're gonna see in citizen science today, it's not bound to any specific age, because it all depends on the game itself. So it's a form of entertainment which can also be beneficial, and it can be greatly integrated into citizen science. So I'm interested, like I mentioned, in automotive and tech design. I really appreciate a well-designed product, and yes, I love beautiful products. I find them inspiring. And regarding philosophical talks, I'm not at all capable of running philosophical talks, but I like to listen to them. I find them inspiring, although I usually listen to these while exercising. So half of my attention is already on the road, and the other half to assimilate these complex theories and so on is never enough. But I find them appealing. I try to extract meaning out of life and everything, and they help me deepen my way of thinking. And like I mentioned, I'm an ex-banker. I have more than 7 years of experience in a front office environment, and it helped me a lot. It helped shape my personality, and it helped me learn how to handle people and how to understand them and communicate well. So that's my personal background. Now back to you, Trevor.
Awesome, thank you. So I do have a quick question with you. So when did how long did it take to build up that endurance with cycling? Has this been like a lifelong passion, or is this just something that you started like later on in life that you're like, oh, I wanna do this, and you just focused on it, or what was that?
Yeah, so like most kids, I've always had a bicycle when I was a kid. And then some years passed by, and then in 2010, I purchased my bike for the first time as an adult. And ever since, for the last 12 years, I've been raking up the miles slightly. And with every year comes a new challenge. And yeah, it was a really gradual process. Uh, it didn't arrive like this. Although if someone wanted to tackle this hobby intensively, they could probably get to this level of fitness in a much shorter time. But I mainly do cycling for the enjoyment of it, and only recently for my personal best distance wise. I don't really care about time as much as distance. Unlike with running, I've been among the fast runners back in high school. So maybe my sports teacher was the first person who inspired me into running. And then many years passed until 2019, when I decided to run at least a marathon in my life. And obviously, it turned out to be addictive. So, but yes, I prefer endurance running to sprinting because it's about the journey. The journey is as important as the goal with endurance sports, and you learn to embrace being tired and sometimes embrace the pain, and it really helps shape one's personality and gives them more discipline in everything in life, especially when you achieve something that's once thought of as almost impossible. Once you finish it, y- your confidence levels become very high. So yes, that's about cycling and running.
Awesome. It definitely, like, I've been in sports my entire life, so you're right about that. It teaches discipline, something that you're like really struggling with, and then you finally accomplish it, and at a certain point it becomes just routine for you. It's almost easy. It's just that so you are right. It does help build discipline. It does help build character. That's awesome though. Definitely something I could never. I don't know. I'm more of a sprinter myself. I don't have the endurance yet. Maybe one day I could run 100 or cycle 100 miles with you, but give me a couple of years, we'll make it. All right, so I guess we'll switch over to me. Some of the things I enjoy is really being outdoors. Anything that's outside. Whether it's year round. I'm from Ohio, so we only get maybe 2-3 months of decent weather, and then other than that it's rain, snow, cold. But either way, I still like being outside, whether it's building a snowman or kayaking. Really big into kayaking. Picture on the left is actually one of my favorite spots to go kayaking. It's right on the shores of Lake Erie and the Ashtabula River. That's one of the areas there. So I have always been an active person. Specifically, soccer is my main sport I play. I used to play it competitively in high school, as did some travel leagues. Now just do it for fun at this point. That's actually a picture of me back in high school when I was actually able to play very well. Now it's more of a just goof around, kick the ball, and just pass some time. Reading, writing, and cooking are my other 3 passions. Specifically, when it comes to cooking, I love the Italian cuisine. Grew up with it. That's what my family's all Italian. That's what we had. So I really love experimenting and trying new things with that. Writing, again, it's just more of a passion of mine. It's nothing that I will ever pursue professionally. But it is enjoyable just to sit down, write a little story, just to, again, pass the time, relax at the end of the day. Same with reading. Try to read at least 1 book a month. I know that's not a lot for some people, but sit down 10 minutes and it really just helps me relax at the end of the day. Previously, like I said, I worked as a customer service associate at Lowe's. My first career that involved being in the lab was actually as a lab tech testing automotive coatings. We did paint, the actual clear coat, and several other coatings for cars, planes, various automobiles. My interests are biomedical research. Like I said, I am currently a study coordinator at a medical research organization. We specialize in testing medical devices and the biocompatibility of those medical devices. So that's a big interest, something I've always been passionate about, at least the medical side of things. As well as Roland, I have a huge interest in gaming. Especially when it comes to combining citizen science and games, as well as just it's something I've done as a kid all the way through now. It's a great way to pass the time. I've met some of my best friends with bonding over video games. So that's definitely a huge interest of mine. And then another area of interest, because it goes more towards the career side, but wearable tech in healthcare. So knowing how we can use things like our smart watches, there's a few smart rings, different devices that attach onto the body that are able to help provide data or monitor our health. And knowing how those can be used in healthcare is kind of another little hobby of mine that I enjoy to research, and hopefully maybe one day be involved in creating the development process of a wearable tech in healthcare. So
Do you think that consumer wearables will ever get there, or professional equipment will always have an edge?
I think professional equipment will always have an edge, just because it is so far up right now. But wearable technology, wearable equipment is going to become bigger. I mean, it already has increased immensely. As the technology grows and becomes more cost effective, it's going to be available for the consumer better. So I think one day we'll get to the point to where wearables will be a great alternative, but I don't think they'll ever surpass the actual devices in the in the hospital setting. So but I hope it would. That would be amazing if it did, but I don't know. I'm hesitant to say it will. All right. So what actually got you into citizen science, Roland? What was kind of the turning point for you? What's that journey like?
So it was back in 2010. I bought this Android phone, and Android phones were still a new thing back then. I remember the iPhone being launched in 2007 and maybe Android in 2009, something like that. So it came bundled with a pre-installed app that was Boink. We will add the link after a few minutes. So it basically lets you donate your spare computing power. I was really interested about it. I'm gonna talk more about the app after this slide. But I started reading on Wikipedia and online, and I discovered that what it's doing is something that's called grid computing. And from grid computing, somehow I got through in a citizen science page, and wow, I read about citizen science, and I was never interested in a career in science, but citizen science was something else. Maybe because it allows me to evade the fact that I need to be specialized with a topic. With citizen science, you could do everything. You could cover all the topics you want. So that was a great thing that drew me in. And to relate to my personality traits, I've also loved things that were unconventional. And it was, and probably still is, very unconventional, which adds to its charm, I think, which is controversial because I really want, and I'm working to make citizen science more mainstream, but being such a niche topic is also something that drew me in. So among the other things that made me interested in citizen science, that it was so easy to do volunteering. I mean, if someone tells me, why would you donate your time and efforts to these research entities, it brings up the question why do volunteer work at all? So whenever you take the decision to do volunteering work, citizen science can be a very, very efficient way to do it. You can do it right from your couch, or if you want to go outside, you can pick some outdoor project. And if you want to take it further, you can do a BioBlitz maybe next to your home or somewhere else during a hike. It's so flexible, and the possibilities are virtually limitless with citizen science. It also has the potential to catalyze research and discoveries massively, especially when you take some statistics to see among the population of Earth, how many people are scientists versus the vast majority who aren't. So if this vast majority only contributed a few times in their lifetime to citizen science, it would really catapult discoveries and human knowledge to an unprecedented level. And that's really tempting. Yeah, I think I listed them all. What about you?
I'm going to be repeating a lot of what you just said with what got me involved. It's you said the unconventional aspect of it, and that was one of the biggest things that really struck me, because their credentials, degrees, things like that have their place in a lot of fields, but citizen science shows that you don't need to have 12 years of schooling to make real contributions to scientific research. There are many projects that are needing your help, that with a basic tutorial, you can understand how to do the project. So that kind of unconventional way of doing things, and the ability for anyone to participate in scientific research was one of the big things that got me involved. But I guess kind of where it all started was back in 2018. That's when I actually left my college that I started in the Toledo area. It was Bowling Green specifically. I left there in order to kind of develop my career and focus a little bit more on working full time. I thought that would be a great move for me, which it was academically speaking. But socially, it's a lot harder to connect with individuals when you're going to classes online. There are resources for that, but again, very difficult to do. So it kind of started with the need for community. That need for community transitioned into me starting a science cafe, actually at a local coffee shop. So we would have, if you don't know what that is, we'd have people get together. They would bring maybe an interesting paper they found. We might have a book discussion. We might just pick a random topic. Pseudoscience was one of the popular ones, where we would just take whatever claim someone was making, and we would discuss it and actually apply the real science to it. So it was a great way to meet people. And as I was searching of how to develop a science cafe, different activities we could do, how to promote it, that somehow found me to a citizen science group, and citizen science in itself. So it was kind of just a rabbit hole. I absolutely loved it. This science cafe evolved into me organizing my first BioBlitz with a group of really close friends. We went to a local national park. We went to a local state park, and spent all day there. We had a great group of people there. It was probably, I would say, 15 to 20 people all together, but the diversity of the individuals that were there is kind of what really made me stop and see the potential that citizen science has. Is, I mean, we at that time, us, the 20 people that were there, we had no idea who we, each other were. We didn't know each other, 3-4 months prior to that. But now we're spending all day hanging out, walking the park, and cataloging the species of flora and fauna that were out there, and seeing people of all ages. You had individuals bringing their children all the way up to those that were retired. It was just a really cool experience that kind of that solidified the idea of citizen science as a passion of mine, and kind of focused on that. But yeah, so that was my journey to where I'm at now. So.
And do you think that establishing personal relationships with people over the topic of citizen science or science helps make the relationships more authentic, because you're discussing things that are real and things that matter rather than trends and other topics?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could definitely agree with that. The idea of you weren't just having a conversation about a strong, you were connecting the individuals on a level of what they were interested in. So it wasn't just you're in an astronomy class, so you have to talk about astronomy. It was, no, you both had an interest in it. You like doing this outside of projects and homework and classes and requirements. This is something that you do on your own time. So yeah, you did create kind of a connection with people that have lasted. Well, I'm still friends with some of the people that I started doing citizen science with and hanging out back in 2018. So you create bonds with these individuals based off of just the love of science, of citizen science in general. So, yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and kind of dive into our favorite citizen science projects. And you mentioned one that was preloaded on your phone already?
Yes.
Really, I would love to, yeah, definitely talk us through that one and some of the other ones that you kind of you fell in love with here.
Okay, so I posted all the links in advance in case someone wants to check the projects out. So BOINC is short for Berkeley Open Infrastructure. I will just one second. So BOINC is short for Berkeley Open Infrastructure for Network Computing. And while it's not, it might not be regarded as a citizen science project, but it does tick many boxes that define citizen science in the first place, such as you are volunteering to advance science, except that you are volunteering your spare computing power. So whether you're on Windows, Android, Linux, or I think Mac as well, but not iOS, your phone or your computer, if your phone or your computer is idling, so it's basically turned on but not doing any work, you have all of this spare computing power going, quote unquote, to waste. So instead, you download this application, and it will run in the background, whether you're working or not, as long as the computer is turned on, and you can allocate as many resources as you want, from the CPU or your RAM or your storage. You pick your best settings, and you can even pick the project you want. So one project that's affiliated with ASU works on mathematical equations to find numbers and stuff like that. Other projects were trying to find cures for COVID during the pandemic. And other projects help find far galaxies, all without you having to do anything except for setting the application and choosing the projects of your liking. And you will be able to see which project is supported by which research entity. Really interesting. On the downside, I must mention, it adds up to more electricity consumption. And while this is not a problem for almost all individuals, it raises the question about efficiency, because the main promise here with grid computing and BOINC, which I really love, and I've been contributing for so many years now to this platform, is that it helps you group thousands of consumer devices to end up with the processing power of a supercomputer. And it's extremely valuable for research entities who do not have enough funding to to rent a supercomputer. So it can be really beneficial for these independent research entities. But at the same time, supercomputers exist for a reason, which is to do massive amounts of computation in an as efficient way as possible, which is still more efficient than distributing the work to many devices. But again, the best thing here is to choose the projects that are backed by institutions that do not have enough funding. And this way, you would be giving them the opportunity to make groundbreaking findings. So you are volunteering your device, maybe your lifespan, if maybe your device's battery, and electricity, all for the sake of science. And there's nothing wrong about that. The next project is Globe Observer. So it's a NASA project. And the reason why it's among my favorite projects is that the app is so reliable. I mean, it has a virtual clinometer, which lets you measure the base, the height of a tree, or use it for capturing photos of clouds and then upload them to their servers. Being affiliated with NASA, this fact alone gives it more a more authentic feel, and that's important in citizen science because you always want to donate your efforts and time and everything for something that matters and for something that's authentic. Eterna, speaking of gaming, is among the absolute best approaches to integrate gaming with citizen science, and I think you'll tell us more about this. It's basically a puzzle game that can get real challenging, so it's entertaining you and helping you advance your skills, all while contributing to science. iNaturalist and Zooniverse are platforms that host many projects, and while iNaturalist is so amazing about helping you upload photos of everything that has life in it, and the best thing about iNat is their identification software. I mean, it's so good. Sometimes it can surprise you how it identifies a certain species from an odd angle correctly. So it's amazing. And Zooniverse is equally impressive when it comes to classify existing photos or videos. So there are lots of projects on both platforms, and they are affiliates, SciStarter affiliates. So when you contribute to these platforms, you will get credit to in your SciStarter dashboard. And same thing goes with Eterna and Globe Observer. I noticed that there are some common projects between you and me.
Yeah. iNaturalist, the platform itself, I mean, there's, like you said, there's so many projects on there, and I can't the AI for the identification that they have, like you said, is absolutely amazing. That's one of the first apps I've actually used. That's the BioBlitz that we organized. That's where we had all of our data. Was on the iNat platform. It's definitely the thing I like about the iNaturalist platform is, and many citizen science projects, and I think you alluded to this earlier, is the fact that you can do them from anywhere. They are so easy to do. A lot of these projects I found just fit into my routine. Like I said, I like being outdoors, so I was already outside taking photos of maybe something I found that was interesting, an animal, a bug, who knows what it was. But I was already out there taking pictures and being able just to add those to a platform and be participating in citizen science was amazing. So I why wouldn't I do that if I was already in the process of? Stall catchers was another big one of mine. That one is, if you don't know what stall catchers is, it is very easy to do and kind of addicting. I sat there for, I would say, I don't want to say hours on end, but it was a very, very long time where I'm just going through clicking. It's helping to advance Alzheimer's research. So you'll see little, maybe like 5-second clips of images of a mouse brain, and then you'll have to or identify if there is a stalled vessel in that image. Very easy. The tutorial, I mean, explains everything. It goes through, and the really cool part about that is you can see, you combine or you can compare what you said to what the community was looking at. So it is a very fun app. And as I said previously, I'm in love with medical research and everything that involves medicine. So participating in a science project like Stall Catchers or even Eterna is absolutely amazing. Eterna, I know we had that in common on that one. If you don't know what that is, it's a very oddly challenging game. It can be very challenging. So it definitely takes attention. And it's something that I play kind of when I'm just waiting around. But it's to like RNA puzzles is kind of what you're doing with that one there. Fantastic game. And the Eureka Project, which actually I did not know about until we had it on SciStarter Live. Oh, I think that was maybe a couple months back for that one. But ever since that came on and we had that project leader on there to discuss, I've been playing that game insane amounts. I think mental health is very important. I know many people that struggle with the mental health. So helping a project that helps identify, helps collect data to identify early precursors for mental illnesses, such as, say depression or even a dementia, is again, like I said, another passion of mine, that medical research. So that's right up that alley. Plus they have fun little games. It's just a great app to use, very easy to use as well. Yep. Okay. So you went from playing citizen science games to being, you went from being a citizen scientist to SciStarter. And I think we have a very similar story of how we got here, but I would like to hear it from you of what happened. How did you go from being a citizen scientist to being Roland from SciStarter?
So chronologically, I've always admired the lifestyle of people who can work from anywhere and have an actual job at it. So I've always wanted, long before the pandemic and long before the financial crisis we currently have in my country, to work from home. And back to our hobbies and endurance sports and so on. I'm not sure if I became an endurance athlete because I'm so stubborn, or it was the other way around. But in both cases, being stubborn really helped me to insist on cracking this nut and entering this whole world. It was a real game changer for me. It was life changing for me, especially that I've always, well, in some ways, I am a rebel because I rebel against having a job which you don't like I think it's one of the major problems in the world. So I really wanted to work to do something that I love, and it won't feel like any work because you can really invest in yourself and do it wholeheartedly. So as a result, I changed my career from banking to citizen science at the age of 30. Uh, and here's another lesson that there's no specific, I mean, I'm not old, but I'm not young either. So, so many years wasted from my life in my old career. I'm trying to compensate everything now. And it really is never too late to, to do what you really love in life. Now, chronologically, in citizen science, SciStarter is really an attractive proposition because I've always loved all-in-one products or all-in-one solutions. And SciStarter is an all-in-one website that lets you discover citizen science projects from all over the internet, from so many platforms. And I can't think of any major citizen science project that isn't on SciStarter. And the list is always being updated. So it's a great way, and especially considering that the affiliate program adds more motivation to the equation, uh, because your efforts in citizen science across all the platforms can now be listed in one place, which is SciStarter. So it isn't duplicating what's already on the web, but it's grouping everything in one place. And not to forget the trainings, which you mentioned at the start of this webinar, which can, well, I think they are really unique in what they do and what they deliver, and they really have potential to draw even more people into citizen science, especially the foundations training. It's really approachable, and it can take you from someone who doesn't know anything about citizen science to someone who knows about it and who is participating in it as part of the tutorial. So yeah, that's the value of SciStarter.
That is, I mean, that's very true. Everything's all in one spot with it. I wish I would have stumbled upon SciStarter as my first like introduction into citizen science. But like I said, I started going from looking into how to organize a science cafe, and then that brought me to different websites of individuals that started their own, different science cafe websites, their main pages. And that kind of just tried to take notes and pick from what they were doing, and never really dived into. I didn't know what to search for, honestly. I didn't know the term citizen science existed. I was just combining, people doing science without degrees, science, and somehow that snowballed and got me to citizen science. So I definitely agree with everything you're saying. And that resonates with how I kind of got to where I am. I guess we'll start with where, chronologically speaking, like I said, I was kind of looking for that community, evolved into from the Science Cafe into running my own bio blitz, and then that evolved to just me wanting to do more. I noticed how our group was growing. We started with 2 and ended up with 20 at that bio blitz, and I wanted to have more people come along. I wanted to tell more people about what citizen science was and what it can do. It was amazing. There was a lot of individuals I was talking to, PhDs, that were carrying on research, and I would mention the term citizen science to them, and they had no idea what it was. It was not even on their radar, and it could have been very valuable to the research that they were running. So that all came down to just me wanting to do more, me wanting to tell more people, me wanting to do more programs. And I was trying to do it all by myself. Thought I could create my own path and make it. I'm can agree with that kind of like rebellious spirit almost. I kind of want to take my own path and take my own way of doing things. And I realized that wasn't working. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to do projects. I didn't have the resources that SciStarter has. I didn't have the foundations training. I didn't know that existed. I didn't see that. They have so many resources of how to get citizen science programs started at libraries. And this was something that I had no idea existed. And when I stumbled upon SciStarter's website, it was just kind of had no idea. I was spending hours just searching different areas and reading through the different trainings they had, the pamphlets, just the resources that you can print out. I mean, definitely spent hours, very, very, very long time scrolling through, and I still find things that I never knew existed on the site still to this day. So once I found SciStarter, and again tried to take as much information as possible, I decided, well, why not maybe create a career out of citizen science? Maybe take it more than just a passion project and maybe make it, my life's work, almost something that I want to do and like I said, build a career out of. So I just took the shot in the dark, reached out to SciStarter and asked if they were looking for anyone to volunteer, if they had any opportunities that I could jump on board and maybe help with a project. And Darlene, our founder, responded back and hopped on a call with me, and lo and behold, she was more than welcoming. Roland was, Emma was, and they just invited me part of the team, and I thank them for that. Definitely appreciate all the help they've been doing in training me, and getting me here. And that kind of led to me wanting to help develop and be a part of a platform that gave me so many resources when I was starting out, and be able to maybe help somebody else that's looking, trying to figure out what citizen science is, trying to figure out how they can help more and be involved, and knowing that I can be a part of that and make somebody feel the way I did when I came upon all those resources. I felt like a kid on Christmas. I was very excited. If I can help develop something that gives someone else that feeling, makes it worth it. So that's what brought me to SciStarter. So let's go to so we got why we ended up here, while we're at SciStarter. What do you do, Roland? I mean, I know what you do, but what do you want to tell the audience kind of what you do, what your roles, what you're learning?
Sure. So everything I do helps me evade routine, because we're working something that has routine can be really daunting. So the diversity of my responsibilities adds to the enjoyment, including citizen science community coordination. I mean, we both of us are links between our users and our project leaders and the research community in general. So it's really nice to be in this position. I also do cross-platform app and web testing. So I'm quality assurance coordinator. I test projects as part of my work on Android, on iOS, and these gadgets also add to my love to this job. because I've always been a gadget person. So it's the perfect excuse to have a Windows device, an Android, an iPhone, an iPad. So because I need to work on on these on this many platforms, I also test our website to find issues on some web pages. I've been designing web pages recently, so there's always something new to learn, and the whole experience is really enriching. I'm currently learning how to code with SciStarter, which was something which was appealing to me, but I never took some serious steps to learn to become a coder before. Although I loved this aspect of things, the way software works. So I'm currently learning how to code. And let's not forget data remediation, because with all of these projects on SciStarter, you need someone to check the old ones and keep everything in check. And there's just so many projects, but we do our best within the available time to keep everything as up to date as possible. What about you?
Well, I do a lot of the same things you do. Maybe not so much the technical side of things, but we are help out with the live. I post to the SciStarter blog. So really anything that you see from the SciStarter team, there's a high possibility that I am the one that actually posted that. I help test projects and SciStarter affiliates to make sure that they're not, make sure that everything's working and will be populating on our dashboard. So the end user will be able to see their contributions. And right now I'm in the process of learning how to make changes to the SciStarter website. Roland's actually helping me teach kind of the front end process of how we can make changes. So when you visit SciStarter.org, it runs smoothly and very easily to navigate. Like I said, with or like Roland said, learning something new every day. There's never a boring day. So, all right. So wonder if we have any questions that you would like to ask either Roland or myself. We are running short on time here, so we might be able to take a question if there is any that's up. Let's see. Not seeing anything in the Q&A. Anything in comments there, Roland?
If anyone wants to, our visitors here, if James or Jean or anyone in the attendees list, if you want to be allowed to talk to share your own story of involvement in citizen science, you're more than welcome to. Just give me a little raised hand and I'll unmute you so that you can talk to us about your own personal story. Let us know. Oh. Hi, James. I think I unmuted you, so you should be able to talk.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, I got it. I actually got started after initially getting involved with the International Dark Sky Association, and I did some night sky studies for them at Island Beach State Park in New Jersey. And then when Verizon got involved with some programs, I started looking into it, and Globe at Night, stuck out there for me. And that was the first of several projects that I got involved with. I got also with the Global Cloud Study as well, and iNaturalist. And my involvement's actually expanding more this year with some upcoming events. That's all I got.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Emma.
No, it's good. I was about to say the same thing. I'm so glad you could share with us. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. I'm glad to have you on board with all of this.
Yeah, it's definitely it's kind of a snowball. Once you start one project, it just keeps growing, and there is no stopping it there. So thank you for sharing, James. All right, since we are reaching the end, unless there is any other questions or comments, go ahead and start wrapping this up here. Okay. So thank you all for joining us. Definitely want to kind of tell you about the next couple of lives that we'll be running. Go ahead and mark your calendars. On January 10th, we will be honoring the memory of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. By using your day off to help your community. We'll be featuring Project Sidewalk with that one. January 17th will be Squirrel. We'll learn how you can spot and report squirrels near you for science. And January 24th, we'll go play in the snow and report some snow depth for science. You can find all those on our blog over at SciStarter at blog.scistarter.org. And then SciStarter Live, it's the very top one up there. If you didn't know, April is Citizen Science Month. So if you do have a project, or if you know of any projects that will be happening, you can add those to citizensciencemonth.org. If you are looking for a project near you, you can always go over to citizensciencemonth.org as well and search for projects near you. Okay. Oops. All right. And if you're ever stuck and you need a boost, you can try one of our resources. You can reach out to us at info@scistarter.org. You can ask the community, or like I said, take those trainings. We have plenty of resources over at scistarter.org. So definitely go check those out. If you have registered for this event on Zoom, you'll get these links emailed to you in email following shortly after the presentation. So thank you again for joining us. Go ahead and register for the next live event, January 10th, in which we'll be featuring Project Sidewalk. Please go ahead and fill out the post-event survey. Let us know what we did good. Let us know what we need to improve on, and let us know, what you're looking forward to seeing. Again, that link will be emailed to you as well in the follow-up email. Thanks, everyone. See ya.
Thanks, everyone.